welcome to Dukes United Show. It's been a long time, guys. It's been a little while still. But yeah, we're looking to get back into doing this, reacting. It was a bad season last year. It was so bad. I wasn't able to watch so many games, so it was difficult to be able to come on a show and give you a reaction when you haven't even watched a match for the majority of the game. So, and unfortunately enough, they weren't anything worth writing home about. So it was real bad. But today, it's all about the news of Ten Hag, who stays. Ten Hag stays. So all I can say is I'm so happy that the guy is staying because he does not deserve to be sacked after having such a season last year. I'm one of the guys who say, from what players he had to choose from, for him to manage to get six with them players, oh my goodness me. Number one, he's done a better job than what Mourinho did to come second that year when Mourinho was like, that's my best achievement. I think Ten Hag could make a case that this is his best achievement to get six and win an FA Cup with this squad. Like the amount of injured players we had, this year, we were back to we were basically back to the Ragnick era where we just lost every single game because we just didn't have the quality. And what chance have you got? It doesn't matter what manager's in. If you have them players to choose from, that combination of players to choose from as well to make it even worse. So you got no pace, not no pace, but like you got no pace in the middle, no pace at the back. You got players who can't take people on the wings, and then you got the odd few players who are gonna do a little bit. We're not press resistant whatsoever. It's trouble. It is trouble. So for him to be able to somehow scrape and get win after conceding shot after shot every game, you know, to somehow get to six, I've got to say hats off to you, Ten Hag, because no other manager was able to get a tune, results out of this team. That's all you could have hoped for, results. And like I said, we're in Europe with this squad. My goodness, any other manager, I'm telling you, would be relegation, fighting relegation, just above relegation, going, yeah, we just made it. We just stayed in the Premier League. But this guy, he still beats flipping City in the last day of the season. How? Reason why? He got some of his players back. That's the only reason why. If he didn't, there's no way we would have won that FA Cup final. If Martinez and Varane were not playing at the back, no chance. And if Amrabat wasn't playing as well. So yeah, they're the guys that needed to be part of that side to make the rest of them play well. And Martinez is the massive catalyst in this. He is that's why I think he's the best defender around at the moment. Not like best one-on-one defender or whatever, but he is the most, influential player on his whole team. He makes Man United be a much better side. Like they go from championship players to Champions League potential, being able to play in Champions League. If he's not there, and if you think about it, we were winning that game in Europe until he got the injury. And then we ended up just capitulating and losing that game. Was it 3-2 in the end? I think it was 3-1 up. Ended up being 3-3, and then they went and won it in the end. I can't remember, but all I know is it happened from Martinez getting dashed out, coming off the pitch injured. And yeah, so yeah, really happy that he's managed to stay. But the thing is, I hated hearing all these guys saying, yeah, you got to give, you give him a blight that all these players are injured, but you got to get results. How are you going to get results if all your players are injured? It's like, that's the excuse for losing games. That's the excuse for not being able to keep the ball at the back. That's the excuse for having 20 shots against you every game when you got no defenders to pick. No defenders. Unprecedented amount of injuries this season. There's nothing you can do about it. So, for me, like I said once again, we've seen what he done in the first season. He comes in, he looks at the squad and he says, you know what? Let's give these first teamers a chance in the first game or two, and let's see how they get on so I can see how they play in a real Premiership game. First game of the season, Brighton at home when he first joined, bang, we got whooped. Maguire, you can see, is a weak link. we need to get him out. So at least now the press can't say nothing about him. He gave him his chance, wasn't good. Martinez had, he was stretched all over the place because he was playing with him. So then, remember, that was what, 3-0 at home, first game of the season? Then we go away to Brentford and get whooped, absolutely slapped all over the place. And then you're thinking, oh my gosh, same as Ragnick, exact same as Ragnick. And then you thought, right, that's it, time to change it all up. Let's bring our boys in. And then we start playing ball. I remember that game again. We thought, oh, we got Liverpool next. That's it now. We're going to get whooped again. It'll probably be 10-0. And we go and win. We win at Old Trafford because he puts the right players in. Martinez, Varane, Shaw, and Dalot, I think it was at the time. And then we started doing good things. We started playing, we played Casemiro ended up coming in. We then beat Arsenal. And we beat everybody that season. We beat City. We were playing good football. We beat Barcelona. Like, we outplayed Barcelona. We played better than them. It's not like we just got a scraping win. We played good football. We played really good football. It was a very enjoyable season. Even when we had no striker because Martial was injured, we had to bring in a Weghorst who was nowhere near the levels. He's a championship type striker. And even then, he could hold up the ball, and then we still won games. We won the League Cup. That was his first season. So to look at that and go, right, look what he's done in his first season. We came, third? If I remember rightly. Arsenal came second. We came third. And then we're like, okay, time to kick on. This manager knows what he's doing. We try and kick on. He tries to go, okay, Eriksen's legs are going. Let's get in a Mason Mount. And you know what? I don't like Mason Mount, but I do like the stats that I've seen of his history. So when you look at his Chelsea history and you go, wait a minute, how's he got all these assists? How's he got all these goals? I ain't seen him ever play well. I hate myself personally. I don't like the way he plays, but I said, you know what? If he brings in Mount and he can get that amount of goals from United, I don't care how he plays. As long as he can just keep the ball ticking and he gets that amount of goals and then he gets assists, all good. So that's not a bad buy if he's going to, Eriksen's legs are gone. We knew his legs are going to be going. And we saw that this year. Then he's injured. He's gone. So then what happens next? We bring in Højlund. We go, okay, now we've finally fixed that striker problem. Pre-season come. Remember what happened pre-season? We played Arsenal. We played them off the park, beat them up. Okay, they had their first team. We had our first team. We could go toe-to-toe with Arsenal. We could go toe-to-toe with any team start of the season. Martinez was playing. Varane was playing. We got new boys in. Okay, Mainu was coming through. We're like, right, we can actually do bits here this season. We can now kick on from what we did last season. So we knew Ten Hag was already good. Then what happens? You get injuries everywhere. And then remember, Onana comes in. So then we can actually be less, even more press resistant. We can now start trying to pass the ball out at the back. Whereas before, we couldn't because we didn't have the players who could do it. If you just have one player who can't pass the ball out, then you can't really try and play this press game, this game where you invite all the attacking players to come on you and then pop it around. We couldn't do that with De Gea. I think at times we couldn't do that. Even Dalot, you looked at the first game of the season in pre-season, Dalot had the ball under no pressure. Onana was out of his box thinking, right, I can keep the ball here. My defender's going to keep it. He gives the ball up and they go and score straight away. And then he realizes, okay, our players are not so press resistant yet. Then Martinez, we lose the main guy at the back. So now we can't even play football from the back anymore because our main guy's gone. Varane goes. And we're like, oh my gosh, we're back to Ragnick era. So what chance have you got if you're back to Ragnick era at the back, which really sets up the midfield? Because if that ball doesn't get through from the back so quickly, then the midfield doesn't have time to then look up and find the attacking players. So now not only are we not able to defend properly, we're not even passing the ball through the lines to get the ball to the likes of Bruno and anyone else who can then look forward and find a runner in Rashford, who we all know if he just runs and he runs in behind and he just keeps getting found, he'll get on the end of it and shoot it and it'll be goals. But that was gone. We dilly-dallying at the back. We got Maguire, Varane, Dalot, Wan-Bissaka was even injured. Then Lindelof gets injured. So then who we got? We got nobody. Casemiro injured. So then you look, Mount injured, the player who we brought in to actually make things up. Mainu injured. And then you're looking at it going, okay, McTominay, we know he can't play. He can't keep the ball under pressure. Right, but what can he do? He can brute himself around, can get some shots. He can score goals when he gets a chance. So we're now scraping the barrel. We know it doesn't matter which manager is in there with that amount of injuries, that there's nothing Ten Hag can do. So I knew straight away, from the minute I saw them injuries, I said, you know what? His hands are tied behind his back right now. He might as well, call himself Ragnick or call himself whoever else it was that was trying to take over these lads and couldn't handle it in the end. But yeah, I'm looking at it going, oh my gosh. And then Anthony, obviously, for him to be even half okay, he's not even decent, but even for him to have a season he had in the first season, which was just about respectable, he was never going to be able to do it when he didn't have any structure behind him and any balls quickly to him and nobody really creating chances for him. He's now going to go crap because he had to come out as well. So then when you look at it, Rashford now suffers. Bruno now suffers. Eriksen's got no legs. All the players are injured and you got to go with players playing out of position. Amrabat comes in to be like the guy who's going to, maybe help out Casemiro. And then you find him at left back. And he's at left back. He's probably never played left back in his life. So if that happens, you got another player out of position. You got players who ain't even good enough in the first place playing. I'm like, we're bound to lose. We're inferior in so many areas. So me watching that, looking at it going, looking at the lineups. Remember early on the season, we played Newcastle. This season, just gone. And we got destroyed. From minute 1 to minute 90, it was an avalanche. It was just like defending, give them the ball back. They kept attacking. And I'm like, that's what we're expecting until all our players come back. So hopefully our players will be back soon, within a few weeks. But it ended up being the whole season pretty much. So we ended up having exactly that all season. So me, if I was going to predict from that point, I'm saying we are nowhere near 6. We should be 13th, 14th in the league. With the football we were playing, the players who are not capable of playing the football we need to play, that is where we were. We are 13th, 14th. So I'm saying, Ten Hag, you need to keep him in. Because what the hell is this person doing? Anyway, nearly crashed. How the hell did he get us to 6 somehow, being inferior to every single team we played? We still didn't have more possession than anyone. Even Luton had better possession than us. Burnley had better possession than us because they had players who are at least capable of keeping the ball. They didn't have players capable of hurting us, but they did look better. They passed the ball around better. Even Coventry looked better than us. They played better football because we didn't have the combinations of players in the right positions to make things happen. And that's what I'm saying. Eric Ten Hag, we know what you did first season. We know you had your hand tied back this season. It's been an unbelievable amount of injuries. Right. So let's just leave it at this. You've absolutely done amazing to beat City on the last day of the season. And he was saying, when I get my players back, and actually he wasn't saying, because I knew what he was doing. Everyone was saying he's a fool, talking all this stuff, all positive. But what can you say? Can you say my team are crap? They're rubbish. They're not good enough after a match and expect them to come and play for you next week and next week? He knew he couldn't say anything about his players. He had to take it all on the chin and just look for any positive to say in them press conferences after every single game, because he knew he's got to get the best out of a bad bunch, and he did. And then when he got his players back for the final and we played good football and we won and we were dangerous, we won the game against City at Wembley, what does he say after? He says, when I got my players, we win. That's all I know. When I got my players, we win. So what's he really saying is, when I don't have my players, these other players, they're nowhere near good enough. We need to take them all out and we need to swap them. He hasn't had enough time to do that yet. He's only brought in certain players where the majority of them, I'm saying, are good buys. They are. I like Malacia. I like him. He's got all of the physical attributes to be a really good left back. He's just obviously needs to learn the game a bit more, but he's been injured all season. So he couldn't even come in for Shaw. Somehow Shaw's injured all season. We know about all the injuries anyway. But what I'm saying is, you've anybody with their eyes open who knows football in detail, understands the game properly, can see that his hands are tied behind his back and it's not his fault. It's not his fault. Some decisions, the one decision I was upset about, I tell you what it is. Yeah, if you guys want to say anything, yes, Steve, and see what Steve has just said before I tell you about the one decision. Steve says, yes, Ten Hag stays, another 6 points next season in the bag for the Gunners. Ha! I don't think you got 6 points this season. I think we drew against you once and lost once. I remember the season before. That was one each, honours even. And this preseason, we did beat you as well. So I'm going to take them as points as well. No, I'm not playing. But yeah, the only one thing that I was not happy about Ten Hag is taking so long to give Ahmad his chance. If you guys go back to the match reaction Newcastle early on in the season, I think it was my 4th, 5th game in the season, I was saying my only hope is that Ahmad gets to play in this team. He's the only player with IQ levels at a different level that can do the job on the wing. Like, if he comes in, if he's got to stop playing Anthony and get rid of this guy, and Ahmad will force his way through. What does Ahmad do? Forces his way through. You guys get yourself moving in the comments if you can, and just talk to me about who was saying Ten Hag in. Were you Ten Hag out? Why were you Ten Hag out, if so? Because I'm saying there should be no chance of getting him out until he has his players and then this happens. If he had his players and this happens, I'm 100% behind. I'm behind everybody who says, yeah, he must go. But we all should know. And stop playing around with words saying, oh, he didn't have his players, but he has a responsibility to win games. What, with the youth team? With the youth team? With no players? How the hell can you win games without players? And he did it. He did it. He actually won games without players. That's what I'm saying is ridiculous. So, yeah, it's not often that you have a manager and you hope for, and there's only one problem that you've got. Like, I'm looking at the team every week in, week out, going, that's the team that I would pick. There ain't even no players. I might do the odd thing here or there. I might have, people going, why did he pay Casemiro at the back? Why? Because he did well last season in Europe when we needed a centre-back. When we thought, okay, he hasn't got so much legs. Maybe he can do well at the centre-back, and then that'll be good. But then he gets done, and then everyone's going on like they know better. We all know Casemiro did well, and he's an experienced player, so we put him at the back. But then, obviously, now that his legs have gone a bit more, then now after seeing them performances, I think I would have probably swapped Amrabat to be at the back and him to be in centre midfield. But even when he was in centre midfield, he's just slide tackling everyone, slide tackling in the air, people running past him like he's not there. So for me, I think Casemiro, I said it at the beginning anyway when he came, why the hell we got this guy who we're only going to have for 1 year? Please don't be another Matic, where Matic came in, done really well for 1 year, and then that's all we got out of him. He was just gone from then. Same thing with Casemiro. We spent all that money. I don't know if it was him. I heard that it wasn't the manager that spent all the money. I heard it was, he said he just wants Casemiro, and then they were left to deal with it, and they spent all that money on getting him in. But that's just stupid, isn't it? You can't give a guy that's that old, that slow, so many years. Stupid. But anyway, it was a good buy for the one season. So, but now that's our job. So here's the other thing. Ten Hag is in now. Hopefully he'll get a new contract because he deserves one for what he's done, for winning a cup both seasons. Some other clubs that are doing so well are not even capable of winning one Isn't it, Steve? Some teams are not even capable of winning one cup while they're doing so well and while they have such a superior team than other people. Huh? Let's go with that, Steve. Nah, I'm playing. No, I'm not even playing. It's true. They should also win something while they go in to try and win a league. But they can't. They haven't got it in them yet. So they will. They will. I think they will. Soon. One day. But anyway, Arsenal are way ahead of us in terms of ability, in terms of whatever they got. But still can't get over the line when it comes to winning things. But anyway, this is about Ten Hag. This year now, he's now hopefully going to get a new contract and he's now going to kick on to this season. But now he's got a whole different challenge. Reason why? Why? Think about it. Casemiro now needs replacing. We now need a centre back because Varane now needs replacing. Shaw's injured all year. We need a replacement for him. We can't have no left-footed left back. So we got some players we really need to bring in. I hope he realizes that Anthony needs to go and that Ahmad needs to get pushed through on the right. And then if we can somehow get in a top centre back, which I have no idea I have no idea about any players at the moment. I'll tell you that for free. Central defensive midfielders, I have no idea. Hopefully this Neves, I had a quick look on him on YouTube. I can see he's got some technical ability, but whether he can handle it in the Prem, we never know until he comes. But yeah, if that kind of player comes, I'll believe in Ten Hag. If he thinks that kind of player is going to be good enough for us, you know what? I'm going to back him on that centre defensive midfielder position. And when you go to left back, I hope Malacia gets fit and gets a whole season behind him where he can play. I think he's good enough to play in terms of ability-wise, 100%. He had amazing games last season. He had some games where he wasn't so good, but it shows that he's capable of being a top defender. He could stay with the best of them. Saka, he stayed with the best of them. Okay, he had a tough day, but he stayed with him. He stayed with Salah against Liverpool when we was at Old Trafford. Real tight on him, defended really well. He can wiggle out of trouble. So if he can just be fit, we've got a left back who's comfortable with his left foot, who can get up and down the left. Really good engine on him, really good physicality. I love what I see about him. I think he's someone who could be an understudy to whoever else comes in, or he could be pushed to continue playing, and I'll be happy with him. I'm honestly happy with him. So can we get maybe that defender, centre back from Juve? They're talking about some centre back who's one of the best. I think he's a Brazilian. Anyone knows? I would have taken him. Martin says the right decision, 100% the right decision. And Steve says he does deserve the chance under Ineos. And they had a lot to put up with. Signings through overall have been poor. I don't agree with that at all. Signings have not been poor. Casemiro wasn't poor. Malacia wasn't poor. Martinez wasn't poor. Onana has not been poor. He's had poor games, but he has not been overall poor. Højlund hasn't been poor. Eriksen wasn't poor on the free transfer. The only person who's been poor is Anthony. Yeah, we need a centre forward. We do need another one. I really think we need another player. I don't want to see Højlund being the only guy to rely on up front. That's why I was saying it's stupid anyway, and there's no point even mentioning it anymore. But I would let Martial stay at the club and train with us, just so he can train while he finds a club. And if for some miraculous reason he stayed fit and we played him in pre-season and he scored some goals, I say, listen, here's a 1-year contract. Pay as you play, though. If you've injured, you're not getting paid. And if you're not back to the movement that you used to be, because now you've had the up, if you're not back to being fast again, because that was your reason for not being able to move, you needed the up. Yeah, you played under injury under Oli, and he kept playing, and now everyone's talking about him in a negative way. He can't move. We know he can't move, but is it because Oli said, I need you, I really need you, I need you to play even though you're injured? And even though Martial said, listen, I can't move, I can't even run, I can't sprint, I'm injured, but please play for me. And now we're caning him. But maybe, just maybe, the injuries came from that, from overplaying. Maybe he gets fit, and maybe he can come back now that he's had the operations. Maybe. But why not let him train for free while we're trying to find another striker? Because I'm telling you now, like I said before, a fit Martial is a top player. An unfit Martial is not worth being there. So why not pay him and let him train while he lives up in Manchester? Let him train. Let's see if he can get involved. Because I can't even see any other strikers out there that I really would hang my hat on and go, yeah, he's a good player. He'll come in and he'll be way better than what we had. I don't know. I'm not so sure. But yeah, Ten Hag has got a real job on his hands. And the thing is, we got no money. We got no money on all this whatever, FFP, whatever it's called, all that nonsense is going to hamper us being able to get all the players that we need, get rid of the players that we know are not good enough. He definitely knows who's not good enough now from all this season, having to rely on players who he could never rely on. So they need to go. They really do need to go. Um, it's it's a job. It's a massive, massive job. But if anyone can do it, I think Ten Hag will know which players he needs to get in. I think he would have scoured the market and known what type of players. Hopefully, he'll know some players that we don't know, some players that we don't know about, some young players, some players who are playing in a different country, who haven't become 80 million yet, and all that nonsense. We need to get players that we go, who's this guy? Who is this guy? I've not seen him play before, but them guys have scouted him and seen everything about him and go, yeah, let's take him. Let's not try and get the established players. We can't afford to do that. We defo need a central defensive midfielder, centre back, striker, left back. We can get that. We've got Mainu in there already, Bruno already in the hole, and Martinez stays fit and puts that ball through, and you get a right-footed right centre back that can pass the ball. Oh my gosh. Then I would keep Wan-Bissaka for now until we go and find, hopefully, like a Jeremy Frimpong. Okay, even if he comes in and he's a winger, even if he comes in and he plays on the wing for us, Frimpong's got bits about him. He's got pace. He can get forward and he makes assists. Then now you got Ahmad and you got Frimpong. You got someone like that. I don't know who you can get left back. You guys, if you know, write in the comments who you think that there is out there. Like I say, I don't really want to see Braithwaite. I've not seen enough of him myself. But again, he's going to be pumped up price now as well. We can't afford to pay stupid money for no Braithwaite and any of these English players. Is Onana the guy? Onana, an Everton centre defensive midfielder. He's shown sparks. I've spoken to friends of mine who know him really well, know who he is, and say he's a top player. He's one of them players people are not really realizing how good he is. I'm not so sure. But we've got Steve saying Hoyland ain't getting you Champions League football. That's the aim next season. Well, he got how many goals this year? What, 13, 14 or whatever it is, 15? If you can just do that again, I think obviously with the very limited supply he had last year, surely he can easily get 4 or 5 more goals next season when you do have a team behind him and a team actually that crosses balls in. Like if Ahmad plays, if Ahmad ends up playing, you end up having proper ability to move the ball. What is this guy doing? You got proper ability to actually supply him in the end. So yeah, that's another thing. You'll have players like Rashford. You don't expect him to supply. Also, yeah. So also, Rashford don't supply really. Garnacho really ain't gonna supply. He's gonna get his shots in and stuff like that. But he ain't gonna really put balls in. But then if you do have Malacia who comes back, you now got someone who crosses the ball from deep, who will cross the ball from deep, will get into good positions. And then you've got, like I said, Wan-Bissaka will be a good defensive player, but we know that he hasn't got nothing really going forward. But yeah, I really don't mind him defending. I really don't mind that. So yeah, looking at Martin, he says winning the FA Cup was a great achievement, was a brilliant day. Totally right, 100% amazing. Onana, well, for now, What do you expect? You've got Casemiro and Ericsson, one season wonder signings, one season wonder. It was experience needed for now. Malacia, where is he? Injured. Mount injured. Hoyland, 72 million. He's only young, so he's gonna get. He's done okay. He's done well. If he can continue playing all the years now and get 15, 20 goals at 72 million today, that's like 10 million of back in the day, isn't it? Anthony's crap. I'm about done okay. He done okay. It's not bad business when you got no money to spend and you can only look at the loan market. It's not bad business at all. Unless you don't know football, it's bad business. But yeah, if you know your football, it's yeah, it's not bad business at all. If you got no options, what do you do? Somebody tell me. Somebody tell me what you do when you got no options. It's the same people talking nonsense. Again, Steve is talking nonsense. He's trying to troll us. He's trying to go on like it's all bad. One season wonder, like Casemiro. You mean it's bad that we bought him for so much money, like I just said, or are you saying something else? Ericsson, he's on a free. We needed to take him in to be a player who can actually pass the ball around, and he did really, really well. So having him for the season was a masterstroke, actually. How can you call that a bad business? Um, it's weird. Anyway, is either poor signing or bad business? I don't think so. I don't agree. Ericsson has more trophies than Arteta. Of course he does. He has more trophies than everyone else, isn't it? It's just Pep ahead of him. Amari Forson leaving is bad news for you. Going to Nah, I don't like it, man. I'm not seeing anything that I can say, yeah, he's sick. And Forson left you because you're crap. I'm not going to say that. But look, end of the day, Forson ain't really done anything to say, yeah, we need to keep him. He hasn't done anything. And at the end of the day, he can go. He can go. I'm not worried. Ahmad is way better than him by miles. By miles better than him. His IQ levels are ridiculous. So I'm happy with all that. Arsenal fans still crying after bottling the league 2 years in a row. I think they bottled the league the year before. But this year, I think they pushed them all the way to the wire. I think they really did push them all the way to the wire, and they learned, and they've got the experience now. I think they did really well. But you know what? What's really well? In the end, when you look back and you go, somebody tell me who was second, third 3 seasons ago. So I don't remember. Who was second or third 4 seasons ago? I have no idea. Nobody cares who's second, who's third. Nobody cares. There is nothing for when you get them positions. So if you don't win something during your twilight years, during your best ever years, you don't win one cup, mate, struggling. But anyway, it's not about Arsenal here. When you got no options, you don't spend over 300 million on injured or one season wonder signings or might be's. But what do I know? Okay, so you've got no players. You got a team that cannot win. Remember the team he inherited. So he needed a Martinez. He needed a left back. So most of them players are good. The only player that was crap is Anthony, who actually didn't pull his weight. Actually, he actually done okay in his first season. He actually did better than, he had some okay stats. You can say it's respectable. Nowhere near what we need, but it was respectable. I think he got like 10 goals and maybe like 4 assists or something, 3 assists. That's all right. That's okay. Just about okay where no one's going to really get on your back. But you do have to do a lot more than that for him to do well. Casemiro was sick last year. So saying that is bad business is the only thing that was bad business is, like I said, signing him and him being there for too long. Signing him for too many years. So there we go. Yeah, he contributed well. Nah, he didn't really contribute well the second season. Second season, this season just gone. Mate, Casemiro is finished. His legs are gone completely. And he doesn't have the protection behind him now. Like, in the other games, he really did have protection, and the team was a proper system. Now, we needed so many players. He's done really, really well. Like I said, Ericsson's done well. It just hurts when you need the money now. Yeah, it does. The only thing is, there was also no other options to go and get some player out there. Like, we were sitting there going, oh my gosh, who are we going to bring in? Who is there? The only thing should have been done is good business when it comes to signing. We should have still signed him, but nowhere near spent that kind of money. If we just spent much less, like even if it was half the money, like 35 mil or something like that, that would have been a great little signing for one season where it made sense. But for that long, it's a joke. But yeah, Daz says, boom, Ten Hag in. He knows his stuff. He knows his stuff. So that's what I'm saying. Ten Hag in, Ten Hag in, Ten Hag in. Now, you got to prove yourself, Ten Hag. You got to prove that you can get in the players that you need. This is the thing, yeah? If he doesn't get in the players that he needs, let's say now it comes to start of the season and he hasn't been able to bring in the centre-back, the central defensive midfielder, who are you going to deal with? Who can you rely on? You going to put McTominay centre-back, centre defensive midfielder again? Who else is there? You've got nobody. Mainu is not defensive. He doesn't have legs going backwards. He's got really good legs going forward. But in terms of defensively off the ball, you can't really rely on him. So we've actually got no central defensive midfielder at the club. Has to come in. So if the club have not got the money, or if he can't somehow find some player out of nowhere that's just on a free or something, we might have to do a few shrewd signings, like a few of those little free transfers again to make something happen. Otherwise, we're in big trouble. Who's going to play at the back with Martinez? The only player I can think of right now is bring Cambuala through. Let him play for now. Now, I'd rather play him than Lindelof or Maguire alongside Martinez. Alongside Martinez, and make sure he wears studs in all them tough games, yeah? Don't be slipping around like he did at Bournemouth. We don't need that. Make you look stupid, look like the guy done a good job. Solanke didn't do nothing. It was just he slipped and looked like a mess. But anyway, hope Ineos can change the transfer culture and inflated prices. United always pay. What have I got? 3 minutes. Only people who care about the FA Cup win are United fans. Oh, you don't care about FA Cup anymore now? Okay. Yeah. You don't care about winning cups, do you? Yeah. It's just you care about being second, yeah. I know, and challenging and not winning anything. These Arsenal supporters, they are deluded. It's ridiculous. Varane was a great signing. Yes, he was. He's done really, really well. Rolls Royce for most of the time. I know he had his fair share of injuries as well, but he was still a bad man. Daz says we need 2 centre-backs, a left-back, set DM, and a forward. Exactly what I just said. But okay, you've added up another centre-back. That's good. You know what I'd do? I'd change things up. I'd have to put Wan-Bissaka in right centre-back for now and let Dalot go right back. So then when Dalot goes forward, he can shuffle across and be that right back. And he's a one-on-one defender. You can leave 3 at the back and go, listen, try and beat me then. I'd have to do something for now. Because at the end of the day, he's a good defender, very, very good one-on-one defender, but that's about it. So why don't we just do that with him? That's what I'm saying. Steve says 8 ain't winning, mate. That's embarrassing. Not with the team that we had, mate. Remember, we came 3rd last season. So it's not normal to be 8th, is it? It's 8th because we had injuries. We all know that. And even with the injuries, we still won something. So, yeah. Next season, when we get our players in, let's see who we get in. And then I can make my predictions if we're going to be in and around it again, like we were the season before. You know, when we was in Europe and you lot weren't in Europe at all. That season, yeah. When you came second and bottled it completely last season. That team, yeah. That Arsenal team. Embarrassing. Embarrassing to be ahead by that many points with only a few games to go and then bottle it. That's embarrassing. And to be so good as a team right now, you guys are so good. Can't win a thing. Yeah, your players, they definitely want to win something. They do, but they can't. It's all about winning when it comes to pros. They don't think like us supporters. Well, I'm a supporter now, but I used to be a player, so I know how it feels. I'm from both sides. And one thing's for sure, we want to win. We'd rather win something than not win something. Okay? So, yeah. Great to have all your knowledge of the game. Yes, Martin. Thank you. Thank you. Because sometimes you have to fix a few people's opinions here. And you have to dissect some of the nonsense that they come out with. Steve is going with some madness. Embarrassing. Yeah, it was embarrassing. Of course it was. But we knew it was coming. We only had championship players to choose from. So you know what happens when you play with championship players? you get championship results. But guess what? Eric Ten Hag somehow managed to get mid-table premiership results from championship players. How did he do it? I don't know. I don't know how he let in so many record shots against, record everything against, records broken, and still manages to beat Liverpool and City on the way to winning the FA Cup. Do you know, yeah? Did you realise this? That Eric Ten Hag has only lost one FA Cup game since he joined at United. One FA Cup game. And that's the final against City last year. So he hasn't even lost the FA Cup game other than that. Think about that for a second, Steve. And that's with injuries galore. Injuries galore. You tell me your boys get injured. Let's say Saliba comes out, Saka comes out. Just those two, and then Rice. You guys are dead as well. Just those three. You're dead. So I don't know what you're talking about. Imagine all your players come out. You got no players. You're not going to be able to play the football you were playing. You're going to have to go long ball. You're going to have to play more defensive or more attacking, depending on anything. Well, it's just City are City, mate. We are up there. We are up with them. United are nowhere near that level, but enjoy your cup. That teams play their second teams in even championship sides. Okay, is that what you're saying, yeah? Let's see. We're nowhere near that level, but when our players are all fit, we beat you pre-season, and we was third last season, and we beat City, Liverpool, Barcelona, Arsenal. What are you talking about? We're near that level. We're actually in and around the chasing pack, just like you were. But Arsenal, obviously, you're a bit ahead in terms of how good your football is. You're a bit ahead in terms of your consistency. Yes, you are. You had a couple years on us in terms of what you were doing, but we were mixing it with the best while our players were fit. We all know that. If you can't admit that, then I have to sin bin you, Steve. But yeah, right. That's been a good morning anyway, and very happy that Ten Hag is in. Very, very happy that Ten Hag has stayed because I was so peed off. I was even writing, I was even sharing those Instagram things where it's saying, please, please, the board, please see this, that we want Ten Hag to stay. And they have listened. They've listened. At the end of the day, we've done what we needed to do. Ten Hag stays for another year. Hopefully the injuries fix up. Hopefully he gets to bring in more players that are his players, get rid of all the players that are not his players, and you'll see even more of the season before. So when the season starts, Steve, let's have a chat then. When the season starts and we know who's in our squad, and then I can tell you what I think's going to happen. From right now, I'm saying we have got a job on our hands to be that Man United side, as good as that Man United side of the first season, because like I say, Casemiro needs replacing, Varane needs replacing, these players need replacing, left back needs replacing. So it's not an easy job to get those players in, but if we do, it's over. We are coming back and we'll be enjoyable to watch again. Let's see what happens, and we'll see you guys in the next week, and we'll be having weekly shows again. It won't be daily shows, but it will be weekly shows. And please join us. If you haven't subscribed, if you're new, please make sure you subscribe and turn on those notifications. And it's good to be back on. Good to talk about United again. At least we've got something positive to talk about. Peace out. I'll see you in the next one.